Channel open and hello, welcome back to Trek Continuum. I'm Shane, feeling a hell of a lot better than last week. Thank you to all one of you who checked up on me. I appreciate you. So here we are with PICARD episode 6, The Impossible Box. Giggity. Dirty jokes aside, sounds like an episode of Doctor Who, but it is better than last week's. Not that that's saying much. I think last week's was the second worst episode thus far of the series, but let's get into it. So we start off with a dream sequence of Soji's, the least interesting character of all. Dutch angles and angled ceilings and blah blah. No tension, no nothing. She's the character we're supposed to care the most about, and we care the absolute least about. She goes into a room, her father's there, her father screams at her. Obviously, she's going to find some mystery about her. She's going to see herself being billed or her sister or something. It's just clear as day, and no one really cares. The narrative is not there. And of all the teasers for all 6 episodes so far, I think this was the worst one. A teaser is supposed to draw you in. Either it's revealing something that you want to see, like with all the flashbacks, assuming you wanted to see them, or telling you something you don't know yet. But this, it's just there. And then, of course, we transition to Soji and Naruk in bed, being all cutesy as the CW tends to be. And, she wakes up. I'm so sorry. And he's like, what are you thinking about? He's like trying to get her self-conscious. And, he's ever so curious. He's like, you're so curious about me. And he pulls the covers over their heads because that's what lovers do. And somehow it's brighter under the covers than it was above the covers. I guess it's great for when little kids play under the covers and, they want to, build forts and everything. They can see what they're doing. Makes no damn sense, but nothing ever does. And, of course, she wants to know his Romulan name, his true name, and she calls him out on the fact that he knows a little bit too much about her. He knows that he calls her mother for an exact amount of time every day or whatever it is. And she's like, and, of course, you find that fishy because, like, are you stalking me? But, of course, he gets all cutesy. That's not my name. She's like, oh, my God, he's so cute. Okay, he can completely stalk me. It's like, oh, my God, okay. Last week, while this is an improvement from last week, I will say that thankfully we didn't have to deal with these 2 assholes last week. And so then we're on La Serena, which, despite all the branding Rios has on the mugs and the walls and the comm badges and all that stuff, at least I'm finally remembering the damn name. Not because the shows remind me of it, because other people on YouTube with better shows and a bigger following are reminding me of it. So we're on there, and Maddox was killed last week, and PICARD, Dr. Newsroom Girardi, and Idiot Boy are sitting there talking about it, and no one bothers to check up on anything. No, why would they do that? There's no, everyone trusts everybody, and that's great and wonderful, but come the F on. Come on. Your cameras floating around everywhere. There are no security cameras in the walls. You can't just maybe do your due diligence, see exactly what happened. Look at the medical records and be like, oh, what really happened? Okay, yes, you're relying on your doctor, who's also a cyberneticist, so you can do everything, Jet Reno Part 2, to tell you what's happening, but do some due diligence. Maybe Rios, who knows that the EMH, the way it's designed, automatically activates if something goes wrong, would be like, hey, what happened? Did you try to save him? Did you automatically update? Nah, Rios don't give a shit. PICARD doesn't give a shit because he's a bumbling idiot now. So no one bothers checking about anything. We know from security cameras in the past, they'll edit the footage together like a movie. Wink, wink. Star Trek 3, Star Trek 2. Jokes aside, though, no one's doing the due diligence. And what it's going to be is that later on the season, the EMH will activate whenever Rios needs them for another counseling session or whatnot. And what'll happen is that then it'll be revealed. Right? It's going to be a big reveal, but here's the problem with the whole narrative of this show. Yes, is a bigger mystery, which we'll eventually find out, maybe in episode 10, finally. But we know everything well ahead of the characters. We have no entry character into this story. We don't find things out with them. It's like a bad romantic comedy where there's some miscommunication and confusion in Act 2, and it's like, oh, I can't wait for them to someone just say it. We already know what's happening. That is a problem with the narrative. It's okay for the audience to know some things. But the fact that we know everything that's going on, what everyone's planning, what everyone's doing, unless, of course, they want to pop something in there that doesn't make any sense, or with reshoots, we know excuse me, I'm still a little sick. That's kind of gross. My apologies. we know what's happening, and the narrative does not serve the audience when we're just waiting for these characters to figure it all out. And it's not going to be some great revelation to us when they finally learn the truth about Girardi's murderous ways, and there's no suspense, and it's a damn problem. So of course the Borg is mentioned, and Picard goes into a study to be all broody, Picardy, and a lot of needless exposition, stuff we already know. I'm starting to think that the scene with Soji and Hugh on the Borg reclamation site a few episodes ago was a reshoot, because I'm starting to think that in this episode he talks about Dr. Asher Soji, and they were like, oh, how's the audience going to know that he knows her? That's not a ghost. That's my cat, Hannah. And they were like, oh, well, let's go back and put a scene in. Or maybe the little clues wouldn't be enough for the audience to realize that she needs to realize something's wrong with her. Let's put in the Destroyer with Rhonda and whatever the hell. Because this episode had a really great introduction. Picard's looking, and when he's doing his research, he sees Hugh, and he sees what Hugh looks like, and that's a good moment for him. But again, it goes back to us already knowing what he looks like. Forget the promotional materials. Just say for the narrative of the storytelling of just the episodes. If you never saw the promotional material or the trailers, we already know this. Anyone like, oh my God, Hugh. Oh my God, that's what Hugh looks like now? We already saw him. So we're not experiencing anything with Picard. We're just like, yep, catch up, old man. So he's doing all this research, and then, of course, we have the best visual shot of the episode, which is the hollow projection of, because everything's transparent, because that makes a lot of sense when you're trying to do work. That's not going to hurt your eyes. Of Locutus of Borg, from surveillance of the Enterprise D, happening to just be right where Riker was standing, right of his POV, but we're going to ignore that. On the screen of the Enterprise D from Best of Both Worlds, and then Picard's, modern-day Picard, his face is with it. And they're overlaying, and he puts his head in his hands. It's a great shot. Great shot. Was it necessary? Not for the story, but it is what it is. We did see the Enterprise Z in a shot, very, very, very briefly. I wasn't gonna put that up, but I forgot, quite simply. And we have the bad theme song, and then we have to remind the audience that Rios is a Latin man. Look, anyone who knows me knows that, I wish I was Latin. I love Latin women. I love Latin culture. I love all women and culture. But, the truth of the matter is that we don't have to constantly have it thrown in our face that he is a Latin man. He just is a man. He's got the cargo shorts on, and he's playing soccer with himself, football with himself. And that's great. Michael Chabon, when, to his credit, I think he went on Instagram and answered a lot of the pressing questions from fans, said, why is he smoking a cigar in the 24th century? Because he's holding on to his culture from the past. That, I think's a lot of racist, but it is what it is. So they're constantly trying to remind us of this. And an image I should have put up here is one of my man again. I always have to bring it back to Captain Benjamin Lafayette Sisko. We knew he was an African-American man from the North American continent. He's an African man. And he did not have the need. They didn't have to remind us in the first season how he didn't have to keep reminding us. It came up when it came up. It took till season 4 for him to put, this is one of the, what's the exact quote? One of the rarest collections of African art you'll find anywhere, something like that. And it's a family heirloom. And it took till season 4 to put it up there. It was never like, look, diversity. It was just who he was. And when it was pertinent to the story, it came up. Okay, that's how he exercises, but you keep throwing these things in there, and it's a little heavy-handed. That's all I'm saying. And don't get me wrong, Rios is probably the best character of this new crew. But then it gets icky manicky. Then Weiner comes out like, I kind of like being in space. It's so cold. And basically, here you go. They kiss. What did I miss here? They get along. They high five last episode. Is he just horny? Because I have my man William Riker up here. Because everyone always wants to get on his shit for being a sleaze bucket who sleeps with anything. Riker may want to sleep with everything, but when he has a much younger woman, vulnerable, talking about, quote, how she is lonely and afraid after she loses her friend, lover, mentor that she killed. But as far as they know, he just died like yesterday. And they kiss. Fine, they kiss. That's gonna happen. You're seeking it. You're seeking companionship. You're seeking a connection after you've lost someone. But here's this older man, Rios, who hooks up with, and even says, "You sure it's gonna be okay?" He checks with her. Yes. So he does due diligence in the Me Too era. But in this climate, it like he's just gonna be like, okay, cool. She's vulnerable. She's going to, of course, tell me it's okay because she wants some kind of connection. So I guess it's okay that she led me off to the bunk to fuck? Good thing he's cute. That's all I'm going to say. No one probably took issue with it because he's so damn good looking and he was sweaty, had his shirt off. And he has tattoos and a great beard. And I wish I looked like that. But I think it's time to get off Riker's ass because Riker never would have done that. And Riker's not going to take someone who's vulnerable, who's younger, who just lost someone. He would kiss her. He would give her a kiss on the hand or probably on the cheek and be like, next time when you're actually ready. Give that very Riker smile, grin, glint in the eye. And be itty-bitty creepy, but like charming Riker and muzzle off with his hunched over walk. That's what he would have done. He wouldn't have said, all right, yeah, let's do this. So, strike one against Rios' character, and I think it's time to get off of Riker's ass. So, here we go. And then we have my favorite, the most pointless character of all, Rizzo. Leathery Rizzo. So now she's got the Wayun collar, so they went from ape-like creatures to administrators of an evil empire to fashion influencers. Good for them. And, that's cool. So she's with her, they're blah, 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 blah. And they have exposition with her brother. He's got the impossible box. It's a fucking Rubik's Cube. It's a Rubik's Cube. And he has some metaphor about patience to figuring out all she ever wanted to do was smash it to get the prize and blah, blah. And it's basically, oh, give me time. I'm getting to it. Oh, I want you to do it quicker. Give me time. She tries to touch it. It's so piss poor. I mean, maybe it's a Charlie in the box because there's a prize inside, but I mean, that was just a pointless ass scene. But it's a Rubik's Cube. It's a Romulan Rubik's Cube. Market them. No one will buy it. I will say that when they got back to La Serena, at least it's taking time for Warp to get somewhere. In the JJ verse, they just get them wherever they want. 2 seconds. Get the Vulcan in 4 minutes. No, not the case. At least they're taking time. But then we have Raffi. And Addiction is hilarious. Say it with me, everyone. Let's play some funny little, like, Benny Hill music. And laugh because someone who's getting high and piss-ass drunk because her life is in shambles and no one believes her. It's just fucking hilarious. Because we have this great scene where she calls a captain. First of all, why are you calling a captain to get clearance? You don't think Admiral Picard would still some favors and some clearances to get through? Apparently not. So she's calling a captain and she berates Picard, as she does, to blackmail her to let the matriarchal Starfleet, that used to be once balanced in genders, but now is, it is what it is, to get them to let Picard go through into get access, a diplomatic mission to go to the Borg cube, the reclamation. And she succeeds. And what does Picard do? He applauds her. He gives her a standing ovation while she stumbles off high as a kite, or as the captain said, lit. Yeah, that was in this episode. Lit. She stumbles off. The only one who gave a shit to fucking try to help her was Rios. Because who is this character that Patrick Stewart is playing, that Patrick Stewart let come to the screen, that Patrick Stewart oversaw in the writer's room? This is not Jean-Luc Picard. This is not the captain. He's using her. He's using a drug addict for whatever she can do because he can't do shit anymore because he's stupid and feeble and just takes insults, and he's just letting her kill herself. Fundamentally, that is not who Jean-Luc Picard is. And I don't understand what people aren't understanding about that. Jean-Luc Picard would never applaud an addict. He would try to help her before he ever let her help him. It's bullshit. Rant over for that. But, I don't know. I guess a payday is a payday is a payday, right, Sir Patrick? But again, at least Rios ushered her off to her room. And then we had the most undeserved and unearned moment, another musical cue from The Next Generation. I forget if it was that part, but that made me cringe. That absolutely made me cringe. We did have a nice scene after that with Raffi and Rios as he put her to sleep, and she talks about her son and whatnot. I tend to think that this was a reshoot as well to bring that into it. Or at least he covers her. And he doesn't activate the EMH to try to help detox her. Nah, why would you do that? But at least he tucks her in and takes the bottle with him. So that was nice. God, no one cares about anyone in this world. But, Picard's just like, oh, Raffi, you're such a riot. what a cute little addict you are. So then Chinny Twinny, she calls her mama to try to figure out what the hell's going on. She stabs herself in the hand and not fall asleep because the 70 seconds she always passes out on hypnosis, river song bullshit. And of course, there's no mark, and no one ever revisits that. She doesn't think to revisit that when she does wake up. Like, did I stab myself? Shouldn't there be blood? Shouldn't there be a mark? No. And also, when Data would get stabbed, guess what? His synthetic skin would come off. But I mean, I guess you're organic. But either way, you should bleed. It makes no fucking sense. So then they get to the reclamation. Picard's like, you're going to stay on this ship. And I'm like, why? And of course he's not going to, but, we'll leave it at that. So then Chinny Twinny starts carbon dating everything in her quarters, and she finds out that everything is 37 months old. Why don't you just carbon date yourself? Just scan yourself. Why don't you scan? Tricorders, you're on a high tech place. You try whatever. So then Picard, let's talk about this. First of all, they show this new Borg that shouldn't there be an evolution in special effects? Like, this Borg looks on par, a little worse than, I don't know, it looks like corrosion armor on his arm. The one right here. The modern day one looks worse than the First Contact Borg where they put money into it. Progression, people. But let's talk about the actual, and of course we see the Borg Queen, a lot of flashbacks to First Contact and Best of Both Worlds, especially First Contact. So I think Picard is too effective. I get it. Being back on the cube is extra impactful. But here's the thing. We reconciled much of these feelings in First Contact. Didn't we? Didn't we go through this? When he killed the Queen, when Lily called him on his bullshit, Captain Mayhab, real Picard was more mature than this. Yes, being back on the cube is going to bring back bad memories. But he's literally falling down. Idiot standing on a bridge with like a fucking 400-foot drop. And he's just falling over because he's just going to stand there. And look, the scene was well shot. It did give you a sense of vertigo and displacement. It was well executed as far as the shot goes. But I really do think that, he has PTSD. Yes. He's never going to be fully healed. Yes. But he used to be the GOAT, the greatest of all time, who could take all these feelings and after 30 years process them, handle it in a way where he wasn't fumbling around like a rag doll being tossed around by these flashes. He heard the Borg in First Contact. He didn't fall over. He was distracted for a moment and took charge. This is not Picard. This is just... subtlety is not in their fucking vocabulary, and I think this went way too far to try to show the effect that the Borg have had on him. It's just he dealt with a lot of this stuff, but like everything in this universe, he's regressed. The look of the Borg have regressed. But then we have Hugh. This is how, like I said, this is how he should have been introduced. He comes out of the shadows because like Hugh, and we see him, and it's a really, really nice moment where they're both happy to see each other. It's actually a reunion of two characters we care about from the past. And it's actually the actual actor playing Hugh, so it isn't like with Maddox or with Icheb where it has absolutely zero fucking impact because there's no You felt it in this scene. You felt Patrick Stewart and Jonathan Del Arco being glad to be back on screen after 30 years. Excuse me, I'm thirsty. You felt that. And it worked. The hug I thought was a little bit out of place, but I can mostly live with it. You know what? They're older. They mean a lot to each other. Their lives are wouldn't be with, especially for Hugh. His life wouldn't be where it is without Picard. So I really do like that. What's weird is how the walls in the Borg cube move now. They move. What the fuck was that about? Are they a Romulan Rubik's cube too? I thought it would have been nice if Hugh would ask about how's my friend Geordi, how's Beverly, but no, we can only get but so much. Then you have Chinny Twinny and Nivik again. He uses the phrase "sounds mad." Cheeky fuckers, sounds mad. Lit, you're killing it. Stop killing me. And I gotta tell you, the dialogue in this crap sounds like middle-aged people trying to convey millennial dialogue. Same way that Attack of the Clones had an old man trying to interpret 50s romantic dialogue, and they have the same chemistry as Anakin and Padme. They really do. This is the modern day Anakin and Padme, and it's absolutely atrocious. So of course she's like, oh, what am I? It's only 3 years old, because he has to hug her and kiss her and tell her it's going to be okay, and they have to go somewhere to deal with this, and he's going to show her something. So this is the best scene in the episode. Hugh takes Picard on a tour of the reclamation that they're doing with the Borg, reclaiming the Borg. And Picard kind of comes out of his PTSD. He's still shaking left and right, but he's coming out of his PTSD with this. And by far is his reaction when he first got to the cube the worst thing of the season? Absolutely not. But this is a nice This is a progression. Seeing what they've done with these Borg, how he thought they couldn't bring people back after this long. Obviously they can with with 709, but on this scale he didn't know it was possible. And he's seeing and there's recognition and there's a shared bond of just beauty when he sees the work Hugh's done and the success they've had, and Hugh showing it to Picard, and these people looking at Locutus and being like, we've been freed. Yeah, their queen now is a Romulan queen. What does that mean? Does that have larger repercussions? Just a clever line. I don't know. Good line to metastasize. I didn't mind that line. Some people are minding it, but this is the worst scene in the show in a way, because this is what we could have had with these characters returning. This felt like Star Trek for the briefest of moments. This is the maturity and the intelligence and the progression done right that we could have had, and they gypped us out of. At least we get it in small doses. It was a really nice scene. Of course, then we go back to La Serena, and of course, Rio's got a coffee, he's helping her out, and she figures it all out. Because she's the bestest ever. She figures everything out, because even high, she's better than everyone else. So then we go to this. I do like learning more about Romulan spirituality and Romulan culture and whatnot. I really do enjoy that. It feels off because of how they're presenting it. We see this room, very reminiscent of the meditation circle that many cultures have. I always go back to Oz in the last season, especially the series finale, when Riley's brother Cyril's being killed. He's going around a meditation circle. So very reminiscent of that. The execution is done poorly. I mean, absolutely piss poorly. So what they're doing is Narek is guiding her through her dream. Somehow he knows exactly what she's seeing. Honestly, I would have preferred Narek be someone who's been trained to learn how to mind meld again. Get that part of your ancestry back. Something like that. While he's working on his Rubik's Cube, and he's telling her exactly where to look, and lo and behold, her father, she can't see, she looks on the table, and it's her on the table. What a twist! We didn't see that one coming. Oh my God! It's just no one cares. And then, of course, he knows to tell her to look up to see the twin moons, red moons, with a constant electrical storm, and his hot, not Cersei sister's like, I gotta find what system has that. I will go back, and I will say, I did like the fact that there's a nice visual, because she's an artist. She has the same drawing wooden dolls that we have now, that I used to have once, and it was nice seeing her, and that was a nice visual. That was a very nice visual, but then of course Narek breaks her heart. You're not real, and this is his moment of betrayal, and he walks out and he leaves her in there, and he's so torn up about it, saying, come back, come back. I promise you, he could turn back, sweet talk her, but yeah, I was going to leave you to die, but I just couldn't. She's like, oh, it's okay, I forgive you. You're just a bad boy who needs to be saved. And, the not Thaleron comes out from the box, and did he not think that was going to trigger her? Did you not think to maybe if you wanted to kill her, now you find out where her home planet is, to put force fields in the bulkheads around the room? They've done it a million times before in Star Trek. No, so he gives her every opportunity to break through the wooden floor and then break through the bulkhead and escape. Stupid. So stupid. So, she gets out, and then, as I prepare, Picard and Hugh were looking for her, and they get to around the same. People are like, oh, they just haven't run into each other. Well, they knew approximately where she was. So they went to that area, and she, like Batman, she comes down through the ceiling. Picard shakily holds up the very unique necklace, and she's like, oh my God. And he's like, come with me if you want to live. And she's like, okay, I'll come with you. And so they run off. And, the slowest fucking Romulan guards in history are there. And makes no damn sense. Okay, they're going to the gray zone, I'm sure. So maybe they didn't know exactly where they were going, but they have sensors. So we end up in a spot which I do like. There's Hugh and Picard both have this, especially Hugh, this innate knowledge of where this room is. He knows what to do, what to find, even if he's not sure what it is, and he knows it is. And it's a nice callback to Voyager, getting this technology. I can't remember the species right now, but it's a nice callback to Voyager with this folding space, basically escape plan for the Borg Queen after they assimilated them, and it can go 40,000 light years. And of course she knew that because she knows everything. But I do like the fact that it was in there. They just knew it, which is a callback to First Contact when he just knew where there's fire on the ship. Yeah, that was a little bit of a setup to hatch the real plan, which is going back in time and stopping First Contact. But it is nice. And of course, stupid McStuperson doesn't listen to Picard. He ends up saving the day, chopping off some heads and stabbing some eyes as he does. This kid is... How did he figure out he barely even knows what dress up means. He was able to figure out the coordinates. First of all, he's right down the corridor. He's right down the hall on the La Serena, and no one saw him or heard the transporter activate. He knew what coordinates to use to punch in. He knew how to single user use a transporter, and he did it at exactly the right time, and he was able to jump down and save the day. Makes no fucking sense. And then they're going to leave. Why didn't he go with him? What sense does that make? If you say, I'm going to stay behind and help Director Hugh, they're locking up the room. They're not going to know how to use the damn... God. All he can do is say and kill. Let's say dumb shit and kill people, because that's all he does is just kill people. He's a killing machine, and he's a stupid machine, so now he's there. And if you want to live, why did he stay behind? Say he's staying for Hugh to make sure Hugh gets back okay so they don't hurt Hugh. Or Picard orders him to, thank you, now please protect my friend, and we will rendezvous. So, of course, he says, we're going to rendezvous. He calls Rios, says, we're going to rendezvous at Nepenthe. Not Beta Z, not Alaska, a new planet, a name of which we might remember only because it sounds like Ruapente. But he's going to go see my man, Commander Riker, and Deanna Troi, and their daughter, who I'm sure, how many times do you think Deanna and the daughter are going to berate Riker for being a dumb man? I'm sure. And, just... Here's what's going to happen. And we all know what's going to happen. Exactly like the last episode of Discovery in Season 2. All these people Gabriel and his wife and their daughter will probably already be flying a ship, and some rhyme ship will pop in. We're here to save you, Mom. We just happen to know where you are. And Hugh and Dumb Elf are gonna pop in. They're gonna save the day and start chopping off some heads. And Seven's gonna show up and pew 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 pew. Is Riker gonna show up? Nah, because why do we need the classic characters? We just need these people in a room in 7 of 9 to show up, and it's gonna make no fucking sense. But it's gonna be some big pew 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 battle, and we're not going to get the payoff everyone thinks we're going to get. It's not going to be some clever reveals. We're not going to get the payoff. You know that. You know that. You know that. Why are you trying to delude yourself into thinking that this is going to have any strong resolution? I mean, look. Look, the best part was Hugh trusting Picard. He heard Picard. He knows what Picard's about. And he was willing to sacrifice himself, put everything on the line to help him. That, we could have had so much of that if he had gotten the real crew back together instead of Raffi constantly second-guessing him. Rios is kind of giving him a leap of faith, but Star Trek was about family and faith and coming together and pulling together, and these characters implicitly trusting each other. And I know the point was he didn't want to have any Riker and anyone put themselves on the line, like Data, blah, blah, blah. But it could have felt, even with all the flaws of this series, even with the horrible dialogue, this could have felt so much more Star Trek if we had brought back these characters who had a love and an inherent trust for each other and took a leap of faith. And that the best part of this episode was you taking that leap of faith, showing him around, helping him out. It was genuine. It was familial. It wasn't cheap, and it wasn't edgy for the sake of edgy. Was it the worst? No. Was it the best? No. I'm excited to see Riker next week. Anyway, what did you guys think? Please let me know in the comments. Debate me. Come at me. Love you all for watching. Like, share, subscribe if you'd like. And, next week, episode 7, we're in the home stretch. And hopefully, something's happened. It looks like a lot happens next week, but we shall see. Anyway, thank you for watching and transmission.